On the evening of February 28, 1986, the streets of Stockholm were filled with an air of unease, as a tragedy unfolded that would shock the world. Olof Palme, Sweden's beloved Prime Minister, was shot dead in the heart of the city. It was a murder that shook not only Sweden but the entire global political landscape. But what was the motive behind this shocking assassination? Who killed Olof Palme, and why? Despite years of investigation, the truth has never been uncovered, leaving a trail of political intrigue, mystery, and conspiracy theories. Join us as we delve into the chilling story of the Olof Palme assassination, a case filled with unanswered questions, cover-ups, and a tragic end to a life filled with promise and political reform. To understand the magnitude of this crime, we must first understand the man at its center. Olof Palme was not just a politician, he was a symbol of progressive politics in Sweden and across the world. He had served as Prime Minister twice, first from 1965 to 1976, and then again from 1982 until his untimely death in 1986. Olof Palme was known for his outspoken opinions, both domestically and internationally. He was a fierce critic of the United States' involvement in the Vietnam War, an advocate for civil rights, and a strong proponent of social justice. His policies earned him both admiration and scorn, making him a polarizing figure in Swedish politics. But it was his dedication to peace and diplomacy that made him a symbol of hope, not just for Sweden, but for people all over the world. Yet, as it often happens with figures who rise above the rest, his politics would make him enemies, some more dangerous than others. On February 28, 1986, Olof Palme and his wife, Lisbeth, were walking home from the cinema in central Stockholm. It was a quiet evening, just like any other, as they strolled hand in hand through the streets of Sveavägen, a normally peaceful part of the city. As they neared the intersection of Sveavägen and Tunnelgatan, a figure emerged from the shadows. Without warning, the man drew a gun and shot Palme twice in the back. Lisbeth Palme, his wife, screamed in terror as the assailant fled into the night, leaving a shocked and stunned Sweden in his wake. Despite quick action from bystanders and medical personnel, Olof Palme was pronounced dead shortly after the attack. The Swedish Prime Minister was just 58 years old, and his life had been violently cut short in front of his wife, an event that left a nation in mourning. But this wasn't just a random act of violence. The assailant was never caught, and his identity remains a mystery to this day. The unanswered questions only grew. Why was Olof Palme targeted? Who was behind this heinous act? And most chilling of all, why was the investigation so deeply tangled in mystery? As the investigation began, police quickly found themselves entangled in a complex web of false leads, suspects, and conspiracy theories. The prime suspect, at first, was a man named Christer Pettersson, a known criminal with a history of violent behavior. Pettersson had been arrested and charged with Palme's murder in 1988. The case seemed to have a breakthrough, but the trial was a disaster. There was no physical evidence linking Pettersson to the crime, and the testimony of a witness who had identified him in a police lineup was unreliable. In the end, Pettersson was acquitted due to lack of evidence, but the damage was done. The Swedish public's faith in the investigation began to crumble, and questions surrounding the case only deepened. But who was really behind the murder of Olof Palme? Theories began to emerge that the killing was a political assassination, orchestrated by powerful forces with vested interests in silencing Sweden's outspoken leader. As time passed, several conspiracy theories began to swirl around the assassination of Olof Palme. Was the murder the work of foreign agents? Was it tied to the Cold War? Or perhaps, was it a plot carried out by someone within Sweden's political establishment? One of the most widely discussed theories links the Palme assassination to his outspoken stance on international diplomacy, particularly his criticism of the United States and its Cold War policies. Some speculate that Palme's opposition to the US war in Vietnam and his support for neutral countries in the Cold War made him a target for American intelligence agencies. The CIA, in particular, had a long-standing interest in figures who challenged their political agenda, and Olof Palme's anti-American sentiments may have put him on the radar of those looking to eliminate such voices. Could the assassination have been an act of revenge for his vocal opposition? Another theory points to domestic political motives. As Prime Minister, Palme had made enemies within his own government. Some believe that his assassination was a result of internal Swedish politics, a calculated move by political adversaries who felt that his leadership was undermining their influence. Even the mafia has been mentioned as a possible culprit, as Palme's policies were seen as a threat to organized crime operations in Sweden. His strict laws targeting illegal activity may have made him an enemy of those with deep connections in the criminal underworld. The Olof Palme assassination remains unsolved, with no clear answers as to who carried out the killing or why. Sweden's darkest political mystery continues to haunt the nation, and despite decades of investigations, no one has been held accountable for the murder of its most beloved leader. The case has taken on a life of its own, with every new lead quickly followed by disappointment. A murder mystery with no satisfying closure, it serves as a reminder of the fragility of truth in the political world. The legacy of Olof Palme lives on in Swedish history, and the unanswered questions about his death continue to linger. The investigation has reopened multiple times, with new theories emerging and new suspects identified, but the identity of the assassin remains elusive. It's a tragic tale of a life cut short too soon, a man who stood for justice, peace, and progress, and who was silenced by a force that still remains hidden. The murder of Olof Palme is one of the most haunting and baffling crimes in modern political history. The truth has been buried in the shadows of political games, conspiracies, and cover-ups. As we close this episode, we are reminded of the unspeakable price that can be paid for speaking truth to power. But perhaps one day, we will uncover the truth behind Sweden's most notorious political murder. Until then, the mystery endures. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the world of unsolved crimes.